AskReddit by unusual quantity 7260. What is the best street advice you can give? Deleted. True that two college kids got into it a few years back downtown where I live, and the kid that got it fell and hit his head and died. Dude is in prison for like 6 years for one punch. Be aware of your surroundings. You don't have to be paranoid, but just get a feeling for the general flow of things. If something about that flow changes, you should start looking for the reason behind the changes. That rule goes for basically anything. I was wandering around Portland a few years ago, full-blown tourist just having a stroll heading away from the city center. I spotted a sketchy guy looking pretty intently at me from the intersection of the next block as I crossed the street. I kept walking and the next block was the same situation. The block after he was with two other people and they ran across the road when I walked across. I sprinted back the way I came and have no doubt I would have been mugged at the next corner if I kept strolling. Try not to look lost. Mind your own business. Keep walking. If anyone tries to stop you, tell them, I got shit to do. Do not engage with crazy people. Do not make eye contact. Be on alert if asked for innocent things, like telling someone the time. There are 100 tricks you've never heard of. Anytime someone has asked me the time, I just guess and say I think it's about o'clock while I keep my stride. Don't reach for my phone. Don't stop walking. Never look lost. This is very important. I always try and map out new locations as best as I can before I travel there. If I get lost, I usually look for a shop rather than someone on the street. Always trust your instincts and be aware of your surroundings. In high school, my now husband had the best gut feelings. He still does, but it saved our asses back then. We'd be at a house party and all of a sudden he'd be like, "We have to go." Now, we would find out the next day the cops showed up 10 minutes later. Happened at least 8 times. 25 years later I still trust that gut with my life and freedom. Never trust a water-filled pothole. That first step is a doozy. Take nothing from anyone ever. Food, drinks, sweets. The red apple. My job puts me in lots of apartment suites doing inspections. I get offered food and water all the time and always turn it down. The only time I've ever taken food was when a nice little old lady made my coworker and I a container of apple and blueberry tarts. Those tarts were amazing, and if they'd been poisoned it would have been worth it. Know your surroundings and don't be afraid to make a scene if you find yourself in a tough spot. Most people don't want to deal with crazy, so be the crazy. Pissy yourself, scream whatever comes to mind, whatever you need to do, do it. Don't commit 10 other crimes while in the process of committing a crime. Like, for example, if you're driving down the freeway with pounds of coke in your car, maybe don't speed, drive recklessly, make crazy lane changes, and do countless other stupid shit to draw attention to yourself. But the real advice? Don't commit crimes. In the criminal defense realm we call this, one crime at a time. Safe street drugs don't exist anymore. Seriously, if it's a pill or powder there's a huge chance of it having fent in it, or just being straight up all fent. Coke, ketamine, benzos, opiates, fent is turning up in everything and it's killing people all over. The US had over 100k fent overdose deaths just last year. It's not worth the risk. Even if you test your drugs there's always a chance of finding a hot spot. The LD50 of fent is a few milligrams. That's such a small amount it's hard to even visualize. I think it's micrograms, at least that's how we dose it in the hospital. Mostly everything is milligrams, so that tells you how small it is. Pay attention to your surroundings. Don't keep your head down on your phone or wear headphones. The number of people going around with both AirPods earbuds in astonishes me. Sometimes they are turned up so loud I can hear music from 10 feet away. Maybe I'm old and paranoid, But I can't imagine deliberately relinquishing one of your senses when out in public. If you must have something going in your ear constantly, at least just wear one. Don't wear your politics on your shirt or head. Or car. Do not answer questions that no one asked. 1. Always rely on your gut feeling. This is the only primal instinct we have left. 2. If a stranger tells you that you have nice shoes, never look down. 3. If someone pulls out a knife, run away. If a stranger tells me I have nice shoes, I'm telling them I got them on sale somewhere, lol. If it's rush hour, and every subway car is packed like sardines, never enter the one empty subway car. You didn't suddenly get lucky. Trust me on this. Don't sit anywhere near, that is within half a car's length of, the crazy looking homeless person because it's polite kind politically correct. You're only going to have twice the amount of social pressure when you want to escape the situation. Did this once with my wife, got some very aggressive racist nonsensical threats yelled and postured at us. Close enough that I was resting my hand on the knife I carry and contemplating at what future point I should pull it out. We stood up and went to the other side of the car with all the other people and the guy left the next stop. When mixing with people in a social settings, don't give out personal details. It's okay to be kind but very vague. Nobody needs to know what street you live on or where you work. If they don't respect your boundaries, move along. Had a stalker from my karate club. Found out my location and would flip my mail slot on the door open, looking inside. Woke up one evening to him standing over me. So I just moved to the suburbs, but I've lived in some questionable area most of my life. I walked away from meeting my neighbor laughing. The dude, in our first convo, casually mentioned the work schedule of him and his wife and how they may not see us for a minute because they were going on vacation. Essentially, an itinerary on how to rob them. Just information you don't tell strangers. It was a "this place is not like the others" moment. I keep walking around the neighborhood, getting Truman Show vibes. A strange but not unwelcome change. If someone were to, God forbid, pull a gun on you and rob you, just give them what they want. There's no reason to risk your life trying to be a hero all for your wallet and phone. But if they try to take you to a secondary location, don't mind the weapon. Do anything physically necessary to get away. You can save money by buying different kinds of nuts and mixing them at home. OMG, I'm dying. There is no legitimate reason to stop for a stranger who needs to ask you something. Keep it pushing, you don't owe anyone your attention. Criminals and con artists rely on your politeness. Yep. Recently I had a few almost consecutive instances of men trying to approach me on a bus stop to ask for directions or what time is it. But I see them avoiding all the other people around, especially other men, and trying to talk to me. Maybe they wanted to make a small talk and ask me on a date, but IDC, better safe than sorry. If somebody tries to force you into a car, never get in. Take your chances with whatever you're being threatened with. If you end up in the car, your odds of survival are exponentially worse. All true crime enthusiasts know two things. 1. Don't go to a second location. 2. It's never a mannequin. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. This is so underrated, not that I have good posture. People lose sometimes multiple inches of height as they age, and they are always surprised and disappointed when they find out. You're around 5 feet 5 inches. I used to be 5 feet 7. Yeah, gravity comes for us all. Or you can keep telling people 5 feet 7, they don't need to know, lol. I often say at a certain age people dislike the height chart more than the scale. I have this kind of conversation multiple times a day every work shift. Posture matters. Little old 4 feet 9 inches ladies did not start out that way. Trust must be earned. Never give it blindly. Trust, but verify. Always be gracious, and don't fuck with people because you don't know who they know. As my grandpa said, don't start shit with strangers, you don't know what they're capable of.